supposed to hear. No mention
I
of
don't want
bodies in my
to
basement.
say, I don't want them to hear, but I did subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Uh-oh. Are my videos even shown to people that subscribe? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't
There's
think they
like
were, but...
maybe like a dozen, like 10 or so on there. I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't.
I think a lot of them aren't listed, but maybe there's some that are left public or something. Okay.
I just noticed that they were. I don't think I watched. They were all long, so I didn't watch any of them. But
Yeah, they're going to all be pretty much sessions like this. Some of them probably...
I mean, I support you, but I'm not going to watch your content.
Absolutely. They're pretty much there for me to kind of go back and rewatch particular scenes to see how things went. They're not produced for entertainment value. So where was I going? So we are recording now. We're going to open the opening credits. Does anybody have an idea for a theme song? Or we'll talk about that later. What does the show open up? Or what kind of... Was it set in the 90s? Is it set like current day?
I had assumed current day, but I don't have a preference really. That's just what my assumption was.
I think whatever the theme music is, it kicks up. And it shows a... I think it shows a dark interior of a club, and there's like some strobe lights, and the camera comes into focus, and you're looking at a crowd of people in front of like the stage where there's a band up there playing, and it's got kind of a goth industrial vibe. I'm kind of doing a throwback to like something like maybe The Cure, or even more industrial, going to like Nine Inch Nails. Who are those guys? Go off the Tenement Blues from the score of the Crow, or the soundtrack. But a very, very kind of heavy goth band. Little text pops up, and it tells the audience that we're looking at a stage in Eugene, Oregon. And it says, or the video starts playing. On stage, the Black Roses transition from a deep, thrumming, bass-driven song of lament to an upbeat melody, seemingly at odds with their goth industrial aesthetic. A beautiful young singer, Rose, clad in dark leather and painted with dark makeup, starts with a light and airy hum, which blossoms into a rich melody, accompanied by intricate guitar work and a lively beat laid out by the drums and an upright bass player. In moments, the band is in the zone, and music pours from them into an eager crowd. The crowd, close packed, sweaty from thrashing about to the previous songs, begins to sway as if mesmerized until the first bridge. And then the dancing starts, and the next refrain, a punch is thrown, and the fight ripples outward through the crowd until a bottle is thrown at the drummer, bringing the music to a halt, and the riot overtakes the bar. Show over, folks. So we kind of see this scene playing out over a few minutes. And the scene that the audience is looking at kind of pulls back until we're looking at like it's a YouTube video. Somebody with like a shaky cell phone camera had recorded the moment. And we cut to the interior of your RV, and we see Atticus and Sam kind of standing shoulder to shoulder or sitting at whatever your layout is in the RV, watching on your laptop. Our view transitions from the concert to the conclusion of a YouTube link titled "Second Fight in as Many Weeks. Black Roses Stirring Up Trouble or Viral Marketing." At the first incident, 100 went wild. That attention led to nearly 200 of the second venue. Broke out. Their next show is tonight at the Foundry in Eugene, Oregon. You, this is Atticus and Sam, have just pulled over for a bite to eat at the edge of town and rewatched the video sent a few days before, along with instructions to cross the Midwest in all haste and get here by this morning. What do you do? So Sam, when you're sitting here watching this video again, you've just pulled into town in Eugene, Oregon after kind of a long haul to get here. There's a fight coming up tonight. You're watching this video on whatever laptop, whatever screen you have in the RV. What are you doing as you kind of are reacquainting yourself with the facts and getting ready for whatever you have to do tonight?
Kind of checking out the time to see how much time we have left from, I guess it's morning. So drinking some coffee and just checking out the beats, writing some notes, basically kind of dissing the outfit that the singer is singing in. But other than that,
with
just kind of,
poor success. So you're
yeah.
drinking coffee, maybe like a paper cup from like a Starbucks or other venue. You're in the RV right now. Are you planning anything that you want to do before the show? Trying to find the band, discuss with witnesses. Like what are you planning before the show starts tonight? Let's say they go on at 9:30.
9:30. Mm. Is the band like someone from the area, or is it somebody that's coming in from a different area?
So you don't have a whole lot of information about the band at this point, but we did discuss how the group of you would have access to that move that normally belongs to the. Let me get that move again real quick.
The tinfoil hat people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a move where you can, you have a boss that sent you on this job, right? And they can give you the access to the, like you can reach out on the internet, yeah, talk to the tinfoil hat people.
Was that the flake?
It's the flake move, and it's called Net Friends. I'm gonna post it in PC Team or Team Concept. No, PC Team, which is a handout that I need to put down here. For some reason this isn't cooperating. I'm having some technical trouble. Put it in Team Concepts for a moment. Sorry about this.
That's right.
So what this will let you do is kind of reach out over the internet and ask like, hey, you guys, anybody in the fan base, anybody can kind of do a quick Google search for us. You can also, if you choose, like just do your own research, you can just do that. But there's Net Friends. Should have just popped up on your screen.
Yeah.
So do you prefer to have somebody else do your research, and they could even do this like on your drive out to Eugene from wherever you were coming from? Or do you want to kind of do your own research on the internet?
I mean, if we've got the kind of the fan base or the net friends who can do it while we do other planning, I think that's fine. Do we know, or is this maybe what we need to research? Do we know if the riots have all been in Eugene and shows in Eugene, or?
Yeah, because I'm kind of curious, like if the musician is from this area, then we'll know that the fights have always been in Eugene. But if she's like from another, if Miss Rose is from a different city, maybe we can kind of backtrack and send it out on the net to see if maybe we'll get other hits.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to talk to somebody who had been at one of the other shows to find out what they remember, what they perceived, when did things get weird.
Let's roll Net Friends then, which is going to be how you're kind of asked like the other fan base, like, hey, we've seen this video, like, is there something creepy going on here? What do you guys know about them? So real quick, I think Jessica was the first one to start like wanting to look into the background here. Roll me plus charm, and let me know before you roll. Let me know, like, frame a question or two that you put out on the internet. Like what's the nature of what you're asking the internet squad to tell you? Sound like it was gonna be? Are they local? Do they are there shows in this area? The previous fight was that in this area?
Yeah, like
That's kind of where you're focused.
Yeah, is this a local band? And if so, how often do fights happen when they come on, I guess?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll plus charm, which is going to be in your character sheet. You can hit the charm button.
Yeah.
So a 5.
Well, you get experience.
So, yeah, actually, yeah, you do. You get the mark or a mark. You asked this question kind of a few days before you're going to get into Eugene. Kind of as you head out, you send that out. For the first day, you get just a bunch of people, a lot of them critical of the outfits. They're trying too hard. They're an up-and-coming band. They're, I think, a lot of really just heavily critical. Oh, you should check out this band instead. A lot of like counterproductive or non-productive. You know how forums can often be. But I think when you end up getting an answer, let's see how it comes through. You actually get a response from Liam. He's the guitarist for the Black Roses, and he says, "Hey, interesting to see you on here. Yeah, I'm the guitarist. We're local to Eugene. We've been playing here for about a year, and unfortunately, these riots, we've had a couple now. Just last week and the week before. But Saturday we're gonna have a great show. Hopefully in the area you can make it out. We always look forward to meeting fans." And he leaves like a little. You can hit like a reply to button if you want to engage him in conversation. And so that's just kind of behind the scenes. That's a 5, which is less than a 6, so it's a fail. So even though Liam kind of came on and answered your questions as the keeper, the GM behind the scenes, I'm making note of that, and there's going to be kind of a negative consequence for you all.
Making note to the fact that they know about us.
Pretty much. Liam himself is aware that you're on your way out.
In looking at the YouTube video, 2 questions, I guess, and let me know if I need to roll for any of this, but is there any descriptor of what bar they're at, so that we can go investigate the bar where the previous show and previous riot happened? And number 2, from watching the video, do people become enthralled right away? Do people become enthralled when the singer starts singing? Is there some trigger noticeable in the video that we see that where things change?
Nice. So yeah, you're totally doing investigate a mystery, which is a pretty vague move. It's basically like a spot check or something in other games, or discern realities in this world. The trigger is just when you investigate a mystery. To do this, you can roll plus sharp. So we have an idea of what you want to learn about it. When you roll plus sharp, you have specific questions that you have to ask, but you've let me know what your intent is, so I'll frame my responses, if any, within kind of trying to get you what you want if you're successful.
Yeah, well, let me roll. And I mean, essentially, and I can look at the specific questions, but essentially I'm looking like, where did this happen? And how did this happen? I guess are the 2 really vague questions that I'd be asking. So there's my roll. Probably going to be garbage.
Oh, so we mark an XP.
Wonderful. We're off to a great start. Where is the XP? There it is. Ooh, yeah.
So I think what really stands out to you as you're looking at this, there's definitely something weird about like the timing of it, and it seems like they've gone from just kind of the general dancing and thrashing about for the song, like leading into it, and the video is short. You have just a few moments of transition from like the last song winding down to this one picking up. There's a marked change in style, and there's a moment of everyone kind of like shoulder to shoulder hanging out, like almost looking quizzically at the stage, like they don't quite get the change in the flavor of the music being thrown at them. But they pretty quickly fall in line. Have you ever had like when a band, Alice in Chains used to always do this, like every album seemed to have a marked style change. It's like your first listen to, you're like, I don't know if I like this. It's something to get used to. But then pretty quickly I'd get into it.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of seeing the fans go through that in the span of just like the opening of the song. And then pretty soon they're just swaying to it. And there's definitely some sort of mesmerism type thing going on with them. You do some searching, probably throw it back to the crowd that was answering the questions, even Liam himself. And nobody knows where the first couple of riots took place. Google searches local papers. Like it seems, I think what you get is there's like an active effort to suppress, without going into like law enforcement database or directly talking to witnesses. You would have trouble, or you can't from the video discern exactly where it was, which that stands out because somebody should have said like, hey, did you see the fight at this place on Facebook, right?
Or even you should be able to look at their website and see where they played. But sorry, go ahead.
And actually I think that's probably something you did, right? And when you go there, all you find is hyping the show tonight at the bar called the Foundry. They're really hoping people will show up and play. It seems like they're kind of savvy, like they know they're going to be getting some people looking for them, and instead of mentioning the trouble, they're just like hyping, trying to get people to show up to the new show tonight.
Was there like a time? Was there a timestamp on that video saying like more or less what time it was that maybe they hit the stage or when the riot started?
Yeah, it'd be good to know when in their set this stuff happens too. That's a good call.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be. I'm just hoping to not keep having these poor rolls. Let's have Jessica, as you're going over the same video that Atticus is. Actually, no, I think you've exhausted everything. Oh, that's a new question. Go ahead and give me a plus sharp roll, Samantha. Mm-hmm. 10. Okay, so now we're getting a little bit more successful. And so this is coming off Investigative Mystery. You're watching the same video that Atticus is, but something's going to click through for you. And you're actually, if you look at the Investigative Mystery move, you're going to hold 2, and each one is going to let you ask a question. So if you look at the list of questions, and I can keep in mind what you've already asked to get to this point, like what you were trying to figure out when you watch the video. You can ask 2 questions here. You don't have to ask them all at the same time, and you can confer with Josh, so you can actually try and get some of the stuff he was looking for, as well as your timestamp question. So do you see the list on Investigative Mystery?
Yeah. So it would be something like, what is being concealed here, right? In reference to like the timestamp.
Yeah. So what is being concealed here? You watch the video a handful of times, and you're thinking like, okay, is it like at midnight exactly? Is there some sort of hoodoo tied to the time? I think you do pick up the timestamp on the video, and it shows an irrelevant time. It's 10:17, but you start watching that video for the 7th or 8th time, and you start noticing there's some very precise attunement of like as the music changes, the crowd starts kind of getting wrapped up further and further into it, and you piece together that they're actually being kind of pulled in. The music itself is acting to mesmerize them, so it's not necessarily what time it's played, but just like the crowd being subjected to this music being played for them. It's definitely something the band is doing through their song.
And
so what is being concealed is maybe the relationship between the music and the crowd.
And
So you have one more question off of that list, and you can confer with Josh. Sounds like he's got something he's interested about.
Do you know what you kind of want to know?
Well, I guess the initial description that we heard really highlighted the singer as being this kind of magnetic, interesting person. And so I guess I'm wondering, I'm thinking some sort of a siren or something. So are we going after one siren, or are we going after a whole band of sirens? You know, is it the singer that's mesmerizing the people, or is it the band? But I don't know how to couch that.
It's a great distinction to make or ask, and you're trying to focus on the type of monster already, which might help you narrow in on like the weaknesses and the ways to approach it. One of the questions
that I have: what sort of creature is it? And that might be the best one.
Yeah. So you're watching the band play, and the audience start reacting. There's a scene where Atticus looks over pensively and points to Rose, the singer, and the band is called Black Roses. She's clearly like the front person, and you're trying to discern. Is she the culprit? Is she some sort of supernatural creature? And Sam, what is it that indicates to you what you? I'm going to tell you what you learn, and then I want to have you kind of explain it to Atticus, and Josh, feel free to react to her. What you can see is actually they're playing. Their song is itself a spell that, as they play it for the crowd, and the crowd gets amped in and pumped up, you can tell that their song itself is a spell. It's a ritual, and the band is almost. They appear to be swept up into the ritual the same as everyone else, and the violence just kind of starts in the crowd amongst a few people getting tipped over, but pretty soon, like, the majority of the crowd is swung into it, and a few things go flying up on stage, and somebody like specifically targets the drummer with a bottle. Like the band does not seem to be in control of it so much as invoking a spell. They're not the ones that are like inciting the violence. They're participating in a spell that's inciting the violence. Your best guess is that like some sort of demon or other spirit of like violence and rage and things is being called through with the spell, and the spell gets interrupted by the stopping of the song. So how do you explain that to Atticus as you kind of piece that together? So feel free to react to each other.
So I'm not too sure if there doesn't appear to be a monster on stage. From what I can kind of gather, time isn't important or of the essence. It's more just the change of the rhythm. I feel like there's something in reference to the drum, maybe like a cadence, something in reference to somebody, maybe a monster, but I'm not too sure. There's really limited information that I can really give at this point, but it might be an incantation, a spell, some sort of summonings, I think, from what I'm getting from the video.
So do you think they're doing it on purpose? Do you think are these guys cultists that are trying to bring something forth, or do you think they're being influenced?
I think they're being influenced. I don't think they're aware of what they're doing. Maybe it might have been something that they dreamt of, or maybe they just heard the song like kind of humming through their head. Someone may be manipulating them to kind of get this cadence going, this song that's inciting the violence at these clubs.
So I think the conversation in the van, like the camera pulls out as you're having this conversation. Where does the team end up next? Where does the next scene start?
Mm-hmm.
And you can kind of come up with a location. You have you've got direct contact with one of the band members, Liam. Pulling out a phone book if you want to try and find information, or what's a good scene for Sam and Atticus to pull up on them?
Well, I have one more question for Sam. in this scene if
Oh
we
yeah.
can.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So if you think that this band is being influenced and is on the verge of summoning something, seems to me like we've got two end game options. Number one is to convince them not to ever play that song again, and then monitor them and make sure that whatever's messing with them leaves them alone. Or, and this is probably the smarter and dumber option at the same time, get a private show for them and make sure the song doesn't stop. Kill whatever comes out.
Mm.
We want to make sure there's not a lot of other people around when that's happening.
Yeah. How would we do the latter, though?
Could be as simple as, pretending to be some sort of label, set up a recording session. So it's just them and us in a recording studio, get them to play that song. When the shit hits the fan, we jump in. Obviously, we need to know more than we do now about what we're facing, but that would at least limit the collateral damage.
Yeah.
Is Atticus holding or cleaning? What are you doing with either your 9mm, your big knife, or your assault rifle? You talk like this.
For flavor and to see what you're going to do, let's say that I'm cleaning my assault rifle.
Okay. So you've kind of sat back on the couch and you're field stripping your assault rifle and giving it a good clean while you're talking about, like, we might lure this thing out and kill it. Very cool.
Nice. I guess we'll just, go ahead.
I kind of like the idea of the latter, but I think trying to get that done is going to be a lot more. It's going to be going to be a harder task than letting the shit hit the fan with the first one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, or
keep in mind,
I don't necessarily have friends in Eugene. We can do this shit in the club if you want.
Yeah, we won't be coming back anytime soon for sure.
I mean, we would have to find some way to to not be influenced ourselves and control the crowd enough to get the song finished. Maybe, I don't know, figure something out. Or we can let them play the show tonight and see what happens.
Well, I mean, when we were looking at the video, there was somebody that threw a bottle at the drummer, and that kind of stopped it. But I kind of want to see if maybe the person that threw the bottle had something like covering their ears, or wasn't watching engaged with their eyes, or
maybe it was somebody like us who was trying to stop the.
Yeah, maybe we might have more friends than we think we do.
You can flip through the video and kind of get an eye on that guy, and he was just kind of wildly thrashing about, and punched a guy in the nose and grabbed his bottle and hurled it at the drummer. It was just an act of violence, not like a. I get where you're going. I like it, but yeah, he was just another hooligan.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess first things first. How are we going to get in the club?
We can get in the club. We're not buying tickets to this nonsense.
They did publicize that their next show is going to be in a bar called the Foundry. If you want, we can have the next scene take place when you guys kind of show up there. It's assumed that all the gear on your character sheet you already have prepped and ready to go. If you want to get any special gear, if you want to get anything else, just go ahead and get. I'm going to put a couple things on the layers where you can read them. If you get anything else, it'd be a little shopping trip ahead of time.
And we don't need to explain. Like, I don't need to explain how I'm hiding an assault rifle on me, do I?
Or do I? Is it like a trench coat? Like, is it something that is just maybe a compact assault rifle, or is it something you leave in the RV or the trunk of your car? Like, can you walk into a club with your assault rifle?
Yeah, I guess it depends on the club, but
no, I mean, if you have, because think of like the Highlander, he can pull out his sword wherever he is, right? Right. If you have that justification, but it's since you don't have a magical assault
Right.
rifle, yeah, like just tell us, and we can stretch the chords of credulity
To
when
make
we
it
explain
cool.
how you have it. But in the future, like when you run into a problem with the bouncer, they're gonna spot like whatever you choose now just informs the character's
Yeah.
future, right?
I mean, I'd assume that I've got a trench to carry my stuff, but I also it wouldn't be beyond the realm of possibility that if they know there's going to be violence in a club, they're going to be checking pretty hard.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think we can either go to the club or we can reach out to Liam and try and talk to him before.
Mm. Is there any spells or hexes that you might?
I know nothing about spells and hexes. That's all the weird stuff and the crazy stuff and the stuff that's uncomfortable is all you.
Now
Yeah.
let's look real quick at the basic moves on the page 2 of the hunter reference sheet. Use magic. That's open to any of the characters. Atticus can definitely say like, nope, that's just Sam that does that stuff. But any player character can do magic.
Mhm.
If you look under the effects, there's a bullet list. Those are the sorts of things you can go for. If you want to do anything kind of bigger and weirder than that, it becomes big magic, which is going to be probably a big thing that's harder to do. I'm going to put more expensive costs on that depending on what you're doing. What you would do is you just kind of tell me what you're trying to do and what you do to go about it, and then you roll plus weird, which is a pretty big Samantha area. So we have your effects in mind. You tell me, kind of describe how you're casting the spell, what you do to do the ritual. If you're making potions, if you're drawing pentagrams, and then tell me the effects. And then if you get a 7 through 9, I'll describe a glitch that will plague it.
Okay.
So look at that list, Jessica, and see if there's something you want to do.
On the do magic list?
I'm looking at where it says like the keeper may say like spell requires ritual chanting and gestures and all that. So
I've seen you chant before.
And if you don't want to do this just yet, Josh had the idea of reaching out to that Liam. You can try and meet up with him or the band before the show. You can just show up to the show. You can actually do these magic in the middle of a show. And like if I decide that it's, like let's say it says it takes 10 seconds, 30 seconds, or a minute to cast. What that does is it kind of says like, yeah, I like that you're trying to do that, but I think it'd be interesting at this time for like, while you're distracted doing that, we're going to try and get Atticus to see if he's willing to like take the heat off of you and protect you or like distract the bad guy. Now I'll use those requirements to try and make it interesting, not to keep you from doing things.
Okay.
So you don't have to do your magic in preparation.
Okay.
I have a. So go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Josh.
So what if we?
Fine, go ahead.
What if we do this? What if we reach out to the band? We can have the outfit just put up some real quick, dirty, fake website, like music blog, whatever we want to call it. And we'll reach out to Liam, try to set up a time before the show tonight to do an interview, because they're becoming such a big story. We want to really get their name out there. We want to promote them. It'll give us a chance to reach out to them and see what's new with them, what's changed with them. They've been around for a year and these riots are just starting. So what's different? What's this new direction you've gone in? I can do the talky talk stuff while I'm doing it. If you want to do your whatever thing that you do, and try and kind of sense what's going on inside their heads while I chat with them, maybe that'll at least give us a sense of what they know, what they've seen, and hell, it might get us into the show for free.
Nice. With a press credential.
All right.
Backstage. Real quick, you've just called the employer the outfit. I like that, and I think that's what they're going to be called. And I think that you get your messages over. I was thinking about how you communicate with the RV going around. You probably have like a satellite uplink on the RV that just automatically attunes to the correct satellite as you drive around. So you have like satellite internet whenever you're on the RV, and that would give you a secure channel where they can send you like crazy shit, and you can reach out to them.
Mm-hmm.
Your phones can probably link in through like the Wi-Fi, so as long as you're close to the RV, you have the same sort of thing. But there's a slight delay, like 4 seconds, to talk back and forth to the big boss or the outfit. What's the screen name or contact name of like whoever you deal with when you send a question in or get a job out from them? Who at the outfit do you deal with? Just a screen name, or it can be a person you speak to by voice, or
I wouldn't think it would be a real name. Either way, I think. But what do you think, Jessica?
I was thinking Jeeves.
Jeeves?
Yeah,
so we can
that's Jeeves.
Yeah, we can decide whenever we want to ask Jeeves.
Yeah.
So yeah, you shoot this idea off to Jeeves, and you get. I think he often responds in emojis, and you get like a thumbs up, a great big cartoonish thumbs up. And after about 20 minutes, by the time you're finishing your cup of coffee and you're kind of discussing the rest of it, you get a couple of links that show really impressive faked indie music review articles. Both of you are listed sometimes as co-writers, sometimes on your own. Clearly, he's got like a good facility for like taking other articles and changing them just enough to like give you real credible access. You have this now to use. If you roll badly while using it, somebody might see through the bullshit, but generally it's pretty credible. And you've used like backstories from Jeeves before. So yeah, you have a link to your web journal. You have email addresses, like credentials for them to reach out to you. You got basically like indie press credentials now. And I think that's probably something that can come up in the future. If you need backstories, Jeeves can do them on the fly, right? So yeah, he's got that. And I think from the Liam's response on the NetFriends role earlier, he's able to get some contact information and actually can verify for you where. Let me just double check if it was Liam. Whose house do they play at? No, they play at Devin. Devin's house. He's the drummer. And let me pull up his house here. They give you the address. They haven't. You haven't made contact with Devin yet, or with Liam. But Jeeves sends you a picture of the guy's house with the address.
That's a little creepy.
He gives people's house. Well, no, I guess we're rock stars, so.
So yeah, he gives you the address to Devin's house. Devin is the drummer. The band rehearses there, and yeah, I think that's what you get right now. You guys want to reach out to them with your press credentials?
Yeah, you want me to reach out to him, or you want to do it?
No, you do it because you have more charm than I do.
Damn.
Oh, you mean in the game? Okay. Okay. So, did they give us phone numbers, or they gave us email addresses, or all the above?
I think you have Liam's contact information through the web from that earlier role. You also have his email address, phone number, cell phone number. Like the phone number is he probably lives at his parents' house, and it's probably their home number and then his cell phone number. But he hasn't given you that stuff yet.
Then I'm going to reach out to him in the method that he contacted us. I don't want to raise any. Well, you know what? No, I don't. From their website, what's the contact information they provide to reach out to them? I want to reach out to them that
way. I think it's a band email address. It's Black Roses it's probably a throwback. It's like Black Roses at GeoCities.
Oh geez, hipsters.
But it's easy. Yeah, it's very much hipster ironic.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to their email address. I'm gonna mark the email urgent. So I want to try and catch them before the show tonight. Just make an introduction. I'll make up a name. I'll say my name's Jackson Casey with flytrapmusic.com. and we want to do a last minute press blitz on their show tonight and get the exclusive and talk to them about how they're blowing up all over the Eugene music scene.
Nice.
I'm gonna give them.
Do you mention all the problems or not?
No. If they're trying to hide it, I don't want to bring it up.
Excellent.
Do I need to roll plus charm?
No, I think at this point, you reach out to them again after a short amount of time. It's 20, 30 minutes, and you get a little indicator. I think it probably comes to your cell phone.
Okay.
The emails kind of come into their RV, and that's the relay point back to your cell phone. You can indicate there is a response. It's a really enthusiastic response. Great. Be great to meet y'all. Are you going to be in town for the show tonight? If you do, we'll put you on the roll call. If you have a chance to talk before the show, we've got rehearsal at 4, and then we're going to grab a couple beers before the show. Here's my cell phone number, and Liam gives the response. He's the one that talked to you all under the other guys of the Kooky network, so He doesn't necessarily know that Flytrap is the same people. But yeah, Liam's super stoked.
Yeah, let's. I think we should sit in on rehearsal. I think we should observe their rehearsal and then talk to them after, because clearly they're not summoning this thing in rehearsal. Otherwise, it would be here, right? But I want to see if anything hinky happens during the rehearsal, and then we can talk to them after. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Cool.
So, do you arrange this through email or through calling the phone number?
I'll call the phone number.
Okay. I think now, as you call, rings a couple times. Young man answers the phone. Do you call right after you get the message?
Yeah, I want to seem real eager, unless you disagree.
No, it'd be best if you do it. So yeah.
What was the fake name you gave from Flytrap? The fake name of your journalist? Yeah.
Jackson Casey.
Jackson Casey.
I should have come up with an awesome name for Sam.
Do you go by JC?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, see, I was spelling Casey with a K, so JC. So Jesus Christ. Yeah. So as you you sent that email to him, he responds. He gives you a cell phone, and you call pretty quickly thereafter.
Yep.
He answers. He says something that's like way too eager, like 23-year-old guitarist hoping to break free. I think it's his company line. He says, "Black Rose is here to play our hearts out. This is Liam, man. What can I do for you?"
Liam, how's it going? This is JC. I just got your email response.
Mr. Casey, oh, great. Yeah. Oh, man, that was great to hear. I've been reading your articles. This is fantastic. How'd you guys hear about what, you're in town? Are you going to be in Eugene tonight?
We are. We're here, man.
Oh my God. Oh, you're here now. Oh shit. Yeah. We have a rehearsal. We have a rehearsal coming up in a couple hours. If you meet the band, do some bios, get some photos. We got a kick-ass setup at my buddy's parents' house. It's killer, man. And the show tonight, the Foundry, it's a great venue. Should be a few hundred people there. It's gonna rock. Yeah.
Awesome.
So what's your interest? What's your angle here, man? What can we do for you?
Well, we'd love to come and check out your rehearsal. Just kind of see you all in your element, see you in the creative space, see what you're doing. Maybe talk to you a little bit to get a few blurbs for the pre-show. Try and get a blast for your show before it happens. We'll do the social media blitz. We want to get some quotes from you guys after practice, and then of course we'll be at the show tonight. See how things are going.
Very cool. Hey, hold on. I'm sorry, Mr. Casey. I don't mean to do this, but when you hear him talking off screen to somebody else, and he comes back and says, "Hey, I hope it's okay. Rose wanted to chat with you real quick. Do you want to talk to Rose? She's the singer. You've seen the band, she's badass. Here, puts her on. and he hasn't yet given you any information about the rehearsal. He's just kind of extended the invitation, right? And she seems a lot more kind of cool and level-headed, and she answers and says, Mr. Casey, is that what he's calling you? Mr. Casey, this is Rose. Good to speak to you.
Mr. Casey's my dad. I'm JC.
JC, and she gives a laugh. I understand Liam was just talking to you about our rehearsals, and he said you might be interested in doing a publication on us, writing up a piece on us. Please let me know what the Black Roses can do. We'd be happy to have you on board.
Well, I was just telling Liam, we're really excited about what you guys do, and there's just a buzz about you guys that we want to be a part of, and so I'd love to come see rehearsal. And
she kind of draws her breath as you say that, and like she's like, there's a little hesitation there. You hear it in her voice, like she's being guarded, but you could probably talk her into it.
I may want to use a move here, and I don't know if I can do it over the phone or if I have to see them. But as a grifter, when I'm about to manipulate someone, I can ask the keeper, what will convince this person to do what I want?
Absolutely. Let me just double check. I want to reread the move in case there's any finesse to it. But you're definitely in position to manipulate someone. That's kind of what I had my eye on.
It says you must answer honestly, but not necessarily completely. Yeah.
And so you don't have to roll anything to ask this. It's just a success that you get to do. You just have to be planning to manipulate her, and you totally can manipulate her. You get the strong sense she's been the one. You get the idea that it's important to her to control the messaging. And we think back to all the publicity being deleted around the riots. Mm-hmm. Like she's trying to squash all that. Mm-hmm. She's really worried about the band image, and you just have to convince her that it's not your intention to highlight the negative about the band, or she hopes that you're not even aware of the violence. Like mm-hmm. Those were flukes. She wants you to focus on the good stuff.
Okay. As she inhales, I want to say, look, Rose, I get it. You guys are a young band. You're on your way up. And, it's important to you to control your creative process. Look, we're just here to raise bands up, and I'll make you this promise. I'm not going to post anything or publish anything without showing you guys first. We're not here to hurt you. If you're not on board with what we do, cool, we'll just enjoy the show tonight. But we'd like to send out some social media to get some of our fans to become your fans. And we'd love to check out your rehearsal and talk to you guys a little bit after. If you're not feeling it, then fair enough. I'm not here to cause any trouble.
I think you're right on the verge of just getting to do it. And Powered by the Apocalypse, you can avoid a role altogether if you just put yourself in the perfect fictional position. And so I think you're in that spot where you can just get it. But it might be interesting to roll and manipulate someone just to see what happens on a 7 to 9 or 10 plus or a failure. Sure. So I'd like to call for a charm.
Okay. I think
you have properly assuaged. You're gonna just click your charm. It's gonna take a 3 automatically, but you don't add anything else. Yeah. So 11. Yeah. So if we look at manipulate somebody, once you've given them a reason, tell them what you want them to do and to roll. So what you want is access to them at rehearsal and to write for them. You've given them a good reason. On a 10 plus, they'll do it for the reason you gave them. If you ask too much, they'll tell you the minimum it would take for them to do it, or if there's no way they do it. She's completely satisfied. Silver-tongued devil talked her into it. You hear her kind of soften over the phone, and she gives you the address, and it's the same address that Jeeves had provided earlier for the home. She says it's Devin's folks' house. We're still looking to build, our own. Or we're still looking for the opportunity to establish ourselves in a more part. She's embarrassed by working in somebody's basement, right? But we'll be there at 4:00. We'll be set up and jamming by 4:30. Feel free to come by anytime after that. We'll jam until 6 or so before we break for dinner. Just working some kinks out of our last couple of new songs. Look forward to meeting you, JC. And then Jessica, in this scene, what is Sam doing?
I guess just going through the closet to kind of find some clothes that would fit us in reference to our motif or the characters that we're going to be trying to play.
Sam, you look perfect for this already.
Thanks.
Are we establishing it on the RV? Is there a closet of costumes?
I mentioned that for me last time that I would have that, but yeah, I think it makes sense given our approach.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
well, you probably do. Me, not so much. So it's a little bit harder for me to find clothes.
You have to kind of try and explain the eclectic gear. Well, you're music, indie music, right? So you can.
Okay. You probably do look perfect in what you normally wear, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay. Just modifying the team handout. So you're kind of putting together your outfit. And is she able to overhear? Like, is there like a muted speakerphone where she can hear the conversation, or do you kind of handle it privately and then communicate?
No, I think I'd want her to be able to hear it. You know, we're a team.
And that, I guess that's the question to the players. As players, do you want the PCs to keep information more close to the chest? Or like if we talk and it's not explicitly secret, do you generally share everything kind of between the scenes?
I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think the weird kooky stuff that probably I could only hear because of my skills, I'd probably have to relay it out for him to know. But phone stuff and maybe like messages, it'd probably be visible to the both of us unless he's trying to deceive me in some form or manner.
No, I probably keep things as audible and open as possible so that if something triggers for her to weird out and notice something, because I don't understand everything that she does. I just want to give her free reign to sense things if necessary.
Got it. Yeah, and so I think where this will help is like we can just assume then if Jessica heard us talking about how like Rose doesn't want any bad press, we can assume that Samantha knows that. You don't have to explicitly tell her everything. Okay. Yeah, I think we cut to does the RV pull up? Do you go in the RV or do you take the Firebird? What do you take
Firebird,
like around town?
Firebird, yeah.
And we stop on the way. We stop on the way and get a case of beer, something like super hipster and crafty for the band.
So you get a bag of oranges and a case of Blue Moon, and show up to the the establishment. Yeah, and you show up at the house. It's that same house that's in Roll20. You pull up about 4:30. They said they would be jamming by 4:30, or do you want to catch them a little earlier than that?
No, I think we could. That's up to you. What do you think? I don't know.
I kind of want to get there a little bit ahead of time, just to do like kind of with binoculars snooping, but not necessarily like get there exactly on time. Make it seem like we're running a little late just because we're fashionable.
So you'll pull up down the street and kind of scope the house for a little bit, maybe watch them arrive.
Yeah.
I think we're not quite triggering. There's the move for reading a bad situation. We're not quite triggering that yet because there's no badness going on. But I like the idea of the Firebird rolls up, parks a little bit down the street. You see everybody arrive. I think Devin's the last one to get there, even though it's his parents' house. Like he ran out to run an errand, and as a flaky drummer, he's got everybody else waiting on him, even though they're meeting at his home. You see the singer Rose that you spoke to. From the website and the videos, you recognize the guitarist Liam. There's also a bass player. He plays an upright bass on stage. And the drummer. You see them all arrive. I think we'll go through this scene and then we'll take a little 10-minute break or a 5-minute break to restroom and get drinks and stuff. You see them all arrive at the home that we have in Roll20. and it's on your approach. You've scoped it out. You've watched them. You've looked at the house itself for anything weird, but on their approach, how does the audience see? The house looks normal, a little bit run down, but not too bad. Just could use a coat of paint, and the lawn's probably a little bit gone to weeds. And so as Atticus is walking up, he just sees a home that could use a little bit of repair, but it's kind of homey. When Sam walks up, you see scratching in the paint all around the house. You see, and I mean, not like scratches in the paint, like it's just weathered worn. You see like something with like fingers has raked at the paint, something with claws. The tree around the house, to Atticus, it just looks like it's maybe a little bit sun scorched, which isn't probably normal in the Pacific Northwest, but it's like the leaves are a little bit browned, but otherwise it's got a lot of leaves on everything. And when Sam's looking at it, the trunk looks like it's kind of twisted, maybe rotten out a little bit. The leaves are all just kind of dangling on and kind of withered and brown and black. Like the spirit sight that Sam has is just kind of showing her like bad mojo superimposed around this house. I think the camera's shifting kind of from one to another. Sam, what is it that lets you know that you're seeing something different from Atticus?
Well, I think there's that hint of gray on the sides of my vision that I kind of see when there's evil or when there's darkness. Something that has to do with the monsters. So probably turning to him and he's like, "Dude, is there like a dog here or a cat? Do you see anything? Any animals? Do you hear any animals?"
No. Seems like suburbia to me.
Do you see anything on the walls?
What do you see on the walls? To
I
me,
see
this looks like a place I would not want to live.
claw marks, like really dug in claw marks, like from a wolf or a dog or I don't know.
Do we get a scene of like Sam like tracing over one of the claw marks?
Yeah.
Kind of picture you doing that, and to Atticus, like there's nothing wrong with the paint, like where she's tracing, like from one view it's just a furrow of like 4 claws scraped through the wood, like down through into the wood, but to Atticus it's fine.
Nothing?
No, I mean, is this like creepy scratches or like normal goth girl scratches?
Go ahead and give me a read a bad situation, Samantha, as you're looking. So this is when you look around and read a bad situation, you roll plus sharp.
Yeah, I was trying to get there.
Oh, and you can read people's thoughts and put words in their minds. This will allow you to investigate a mystery and read a bad situation without actually needing to talk. Oh, there's no people here you can solve it. So you have a 9. On a 7 to 9, you hold 1. One hold can be spent to ask the keeper one of the following questions. Do you see the responses there?
Yeah.
Okay. And notice, different from investigate a mystery, on read a bad situation, it says if you act on the answers, you get +1 ongoing while the information is relevant. There's nothing like that under investigate a mystery. You know, when you roll plus sharp, it gives you the option for 0, or you can add things. Any move you're doing that works on the answer of the question that you're about to ask, you get to put a 1 in that box, as long as we're persisting. So you're looking at this scene, and what's the question that you're going to ask?
Okay, so this is an aside with Atticus. So I have are there any dangers we haven't noticed? What's the biggest threat? What's most vulnerable to me? And what's the best way to protect the victims?
The first 2 seem the best to me. but that's probably because I'm a self-serving jerk. I'm not really, unless we're the victims, I'm not that concerned about it.
Yeah.
So what's most vulnerable to me, I think we could get something that we're not, like those kids are probably what's most vulnerable to us.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay,
I
then.
think go with your gut.
I'll do. Are there dangers we haven't noticed?
So you're looking at the scratched up paint. The tree is looking. It's withering. It's looking more cursed than dying to you now as you've looked around. I think you even see in the ground cover around the house, like things have been like kind of like dogs clawing at the ground. And when you're looking for any dangers you haven't noticed, what you're seeing is it looks like claws, claw marks over old claw marks. Like it looks like this is the result of several different attacks, and there's nothing going on right now. Everything's still. In fact, everything just feels like supernaturally still. You would expect some sort of little pixie, like a butterfly, floating around in a neighborhood like this. You often see little spiritual creatures, but you find yourself in kind of a dead zone. And what you gather is that there are no dangers here that you haven't noticed right now, because whatever like has caused all this to happen, it's not going on right now, and it has driven out like any other spiritual entities. Does that click?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're standing up at the house. You kind of get that vibe, and I think before you able to do anything else, like you get this feeling like, oh, everything hasn't started yet, and then you hear like the whine of a tube amp turning on and like a string being strummed, and just like a chord is being played, and you hear like check check as they're setting up inside.
Well, time to face the music, I guess.
I like it.
Do you want to take a quick 5-minute break on that and come back at 1 past the hour?
That seems like
Yeah.
a good spot for a break.
Time to face the music. Beautiful, Jessica. All right, we'll be back in 5 minutes.
Cool. Right.
Howdy, howdy.
Hey, I hear wrestling around.
I'm here.
Jessica's beating the shit out of her microphone. Getting
man.
ready to follow up that badass line of "Time to Face the Music." What does the group do after that? Let's look to Atticus and see what your response is. If she's
After she says that, what do I do?
yeah, you're gonna ring the doorbell. You're gonna knock. You're just gonna let yourself in.
Are they playing? Can we hear them playing in the garage? Are they like a garage band? You said the basement, didn't you?
Yeah, I think it's a basement, but I think there's maybe like a side entrance to like a storm cellar. Let's make it kind of cool like that. So there's a what was the weather? Let me see what the weather is real quick. I think there's a big cellar with the doors splayed open. It's one of those stairwells that goes down to the ground below the house, as cellars tend to. The doors are propped open, and you hear like the sound coming up from like around the side of the house up there. From your little stakeout point, you weren't able to see where they were going, just around this side. But as you walk, you see without having to go through the home, you can go straight down to the basement.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Allergic to demons. Good to know.
All right. I'm gonna, I guess, just head towards that door with the case of beer in one hand. I'm dressed in like like my trench, my street clothes, kind of normal clothes. But I don't have the assault rifle with me, just the gun and the knife. And raise my hand to knock, and then just before I do, to put Sam on the spot, I'll say, "By the way, your name is Winter, and you're my photographer." And then I'll knock on the door.
Dude, I don't have a camera.
You got an iPhone?
Oh yeah.
That's super cool. And then, so you're gonna knock. I'm picturing like a cellar where it's one of those slanted entrances into the ground, just stairs going down, and like big wooden doors flipped open. It's like you use your heel to kind of kick on the door, or just like, okay. You hear somebody yell from down below, "Hey, come on down!" And then like almost immediately, Rose shows up at the bottom of the stairs, looks up to you like, "Oh, come on down." She starts walking up, and then realizes the stairs are a little too narrow. You kind of get down one at a time. It'd be a bitch to carry drums up and down through this stairwell. So she kind of backs up again, like beckons you down, like invites you in, and just stands there smiling.
Are they kids basically? Are they like teenagers? Or
20, 24, 25.
Okay.
They're probably just out of college.
Okay.
And you're in Eugene, is a huge college town. It's University of Washington.
Oregon.
Oregon, yeah. Alternate universe. Washington annexed Eugene.
Awesome.
Yeah, you will.
Probably way cooler.
Very good. So aside from my failure in geography, she invites you both down, and she, I'm sorry, JC. Pleasure to meet you. And I didn't catch your name. She looks to you, and you can tell like she kind of looks with a praising and like she's gonna steal your style, Samantha, as she looks you up and down. She's remembering the ensemble so she can wear it for a show.
Winter, charmed.
Winter, yeah. If I ever need to change my name, Winter Rose. Okay. You see spread around a big kind of comfy den. There's a couple of couches, a big rug, probably a TV, and some video game stuff kind of stacked off in a corner. Everything's pushed to the side. The drums are set up here. I don't know enough about playing music in a cellar, but they probably have like rugs or something to kind of dampen some acoustics and like try and whatever people who are serious about trying to like get big would do in their studio, but like on a budget, right?
Sure.
I think Devin has like just the essential pieces of his drum set, not the full kit is set up here. The upright bass is set up, and you see the bass player sitting there. He's got kind of a glower as he looks you over. Seems to be like you're intruding on their practice. Liam, the guitarist that first made contact with you, you recognize him. He's the one kind of tuning up right now. He gives you a friendly nod. And Devin steps forward. He's got a couple of beers fresh out of a cooler, still dripping water. Who's sponsoring tonight's episode? Is it Blue Moon? I think the same beer that you brought is like he's about to hand you a couple, and then his eyes go down to the case that you're carrying in and like smiles, like, "Hey, start with cold ones. Can I put these in the cooler?"
Hey, they're all yours.
Do you know? Yeah, he's hoping you'll leave them behind. So good. Yeah, he hands you each an open beer.
We're here to support
as you look around. Perfect. Yeah, the National Endowment for the Arts starts with beer. As you're looking around, you go from that like kind of comfortable, and there's that nice kind of scene where Rose is welcoming and Devin's welcoming, to Sam. You kind of get a bit of chills, and that gray seeps over. And for just a moment, you see like black lightning kind of rippling around the room, kind of crawling down the lines, the walls, over like little fractal patterns across the ground, coming vaguely toward where the band is set up, kind of rippling back and forth. It's almost like touching, what are those, what are the spheres that have like static electricity? You touch them and they crackle out.
The Tesla?
They're called a Tesla. Yeah. I know Tesla coil might be. Okay, yeah. So you're getting kind of that sort of vibe. Only Sam is seeing it, and it happens just for like a moment as you kind of see like negative energies, kind of residual patterns of negative energies. You've seen this sort of thing where evil juju magic has been practiced before, and I think as it traces itself out, you see almost like it's forming like a summoning circle. Is what you're able to put together. It looks like a summoning circle that's kind of waiting to be empowered with the magic. And it cuts back to Rose looking to JC. Please, sit down and enjoy a beer. Let's chat before we start playing. What's going on? What would you like to know about the Black Roses?
We've checked you guys out. We've listened to some of your stuff, and it's really exciting. Just want to know what's new with you guys. What direction are you going? Is anything, what's next on the horizon for you, creatively, artistically?
Very cool. I'm torn between investigate a mystery and read a bad situation. Do either of those pop out at you as being closer to what you're trying to do?
Well, I'll tell you my inkling, but it's based on what she saw, so this wouldn't be something that Atticus would know. But the question I'm asking in my head as a player is there something with this place that's influenced them? Are they like in a haunted or possessed house that's trying to release something and it's attached to them? Or did they like sell their soul to become amazing musicians and this is the cost? But again, character would not know any of that.
Mm-hmm. But I think it makes sense that you're trying to figure out like what's changed here, basically.
The reason in character I'd ask the question is because they've been playing for a year, but only recently did the riot start. So is there some new song or new music that they're doing that they've been influenced to start that caused the change?
I think we're working on an investigative mystery. So roll plus sharp.
And Jessica, push me out of the way whenever I'm being too verbose, whenever I'm doing too much stuff.
10. So on investigative mystery with a 10 plus, you hold 2. There's a list of questions, and you can ask those. You don't have to ask them both at once, but you can definitely start with one, and kind of during the scene, just remember that you're holding one, and you can ask another one later if you've held on to it.
Well, this might.
You can ask it, and I can answer it kind of openly. So if you asked what happened here, or what can it do, or whatever sort of thing you ask, I'll answer it pretty openly, knowing what you're trying to get at.
I guess what can it do?
Okay. So you're asking her about new things that they've been doing as a band, getting at the idea of like, are they new, practicing in this venue that something unlocked recently, a new song, and you're going about the what can it do. She goes on for a little bit. She lays out in this kind of seems like it's a well practiced thing. She's shared on blogs, on other reporters have asked her questions. She gives like a band history. They formed about a year ago. The youngest, I think Devin, graduated from college finally. So they decided to really focus on building this band. It's a group of old friends. They've been playing for a year. It started, and she points to Eric, who's the upright bass player. She points to him, says, "This is my old boyfriend from high school. We played all through college." He brought on Devin and Liam.
Are you
You
guys
see
still
his
together?
resentment. Yeah, you see his resentment, and you kind of bring that question in, and you see him glower. His eyes go down, and he kind of doesn't like. As she reaches up and touches, no, we're still great friends. Though. That hasn't interrupted things at all. And like you just know it has, right? The drama is written on his face. They've been playing in the same room for a year. It's been great. She's going on, and she's kind of like knocking things off the list, except for like you pick up on that bad relationship issue. And then she says, and she actually reaches up and taps Eric's knee, and actually he's just started writing songs for us. One of our newest pieces, we've only played it a few times. We could play it for you now. It's called, let me get to the name of it, Requiem for the Broken.
Which one is
And
Eric? Is Eric the bass
Eric
player?
is the upright bass player. And as she says Requiem for the Broken, Liam kind of plays out the first few notes, and you recognize that like really beautiful, intricate music from the video that you saw. This was the song that did it, right? He plays the first few notes, just kind of dicking around. He's not starting the song. He just kind of is still jamming. Loves that song. He plays the first few notes, and I think we cut to Sam. You see like that ripple of energy around the room just kind of darken, like thicken, and like a burst of flow. And then he stops playing it, and it subsides again or goes back in the background. You still have a question, Atticus? But Sam, you've asked if they're still together. You saw this whole reaction. You're kind of keyed onto that. What does Sam do to push on that?
Was the person that was playing the melody the ex-boyfriend, or?
No. The ex-boyfriend is kind of holding his upright bass in one hand. He's
Okay.
He's not playing right now. The guitar player seems to really dig the song, and he's the one that started playing it.
And that was Eric, right? The one that wrote the lyrics?
Eric wrote the song, not just the song, but the music. He brought the music to the band, and he's the bass player.
The bass player. Okay. Yeah. So what gave you guys the motivation, or how were you guys inspired for Requiem?
There's kind of a blank look on all their faces. Devin is pouring back a beer, and he stops and kind of looks at you, and they just kind of all look to Eric. And let's see. I think he just gives kind of a rueful shrug and says, it just came to me. But let's look at your moves real quick. You have telepathy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this might be a great chance to get into somebody's head. You can read people's thoughts and put words in their mind. This will allow you to investigate a mystery, read a bad situation, manipulate someone without speaking. So Eric's clearly kind of concealing something from you all. You've asked or you've wondered kind of how the song came to them. You've gotten to the point that like the song is at the root of what's going on. How would you use your telepathy to follow up with Eric? And I'm leading you maybe too heavily-handedly at using telepathy. You don't have to, but that was just kind of what occurred to me.
Um,
And if you want, Josh has another hold from Investigative Mystery. So if you're not ready to kind of push that just yet, if you have another question, you want to confer with Josh and see if he wants to ask another question.
I can move forward if you want to think about it for a minute. What I would do next is ask what is being concealed here, but I would do it through a question right at Eric, and kind of try to corner him a little bit socially. But I can hold off on that and let you do your thing.
I wonder if
because
okay.
that could be fun.
Let me follow up with maybe in reference to their instruments. Maybe any of them are like old-fashioned instruments or like heirlooms or
like the haunted instrument type idea.
yeah.
I think they all definitely have nice instruments, but it's or not nice, but like well loved instruments, and maybe even Eric's upright bass is like an older instrument. I'm trying to think of how your telepathy is going to work in here.
With her, she's got that true sight thing, doesn't she? That could maybe perceive something.
I think I think also the communicate and see the spirits and things can give you opportunity to spot clues when you investigate a mystery. I think as you start like kind of looking through the instruments, it's not the instruments themselves. It seems like it's the song. I think that enables you to kind of rule down like it's actually the music. And maybe as you tune into Eric's thoughts a little bit, if I'm not being too heavy-handed with the telepathy idea, I think we can get to an answer for Josh. What was your last question?
Well, what I was going to do, the question was going to be what's being concealed here. But I was going to say something to Eric about Robert Johnson. He's
nice.
the famous blues musician, and just say, oh, that inspiration comes from nowhere. It's like you're a modern day Robert Johnson. Where's the crossroads? And just kind of just throw that at him and see if it's does he recoil from it because it hits home, or does he just shrug it off like, oh, I don't know, whatever.
So I think because you have a 10 plus, you have to get an honest answer from me. I can't conceal it, but I think it's maybe fruitful to have Sam kind of tap into his mind, or even get just a powerful burst of like emotional energy coming out of him. As you ask that question, I think he lies to you outwardly, but the audience and Sam get the response. And maybe even Atticus is such a shrewd character, like he's lying. But the what is being concealed here? Sam, you get from him the strong impression. Maybe even have like a flashback of I think it's a series of like late night chats between Eric and some internet friend, some groupie, somebody he's met. Maybe it ties back to Liam is on those same forums where you are with the weird stuff. You see him heartbroken. He's got the fifth of whiskey going down quickly as he's typing. He's chatting with somebody, going over his problems with Rose. They're listening to him. They're talking to him. And like you see this montage, these scenes of him being talked, and like you just need to write the right song. Like you just need to impress her. You need to strike her. Like be the muse, dude. And he's trying to figure out how. And then they start feeding him, resources. And pretty soon he's looking up weird like Baroque instrumental music from like crazy online conspiracy theorist archives. Like these are like the pieces the church has hidden away. It's all this like crazy shit, but like he comes across one piece and he starts like translating it into the quartet that they have. Starts putting this music together, puts lyrics. I think Sam gets the clear idea. It's the instrumentation. It's some of the tonality of the singing. It's like The lyrics he put on are incidental to it, but they're basically playing like an ancient or a centuries old spell ritual. Eric doesn't quite realize what he tapped into, but he's doing it to kind of recapture Rose's love, and is not he's not intentional of it. But as you're looking at him, as you're getting this, like, he's really corrupted by it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you know that Eric is kind of the wrongdoer. The rest of the band seems kind of unaware of what he's doing at this point. And I think Eric kind of snarls as he's looking to you all. He actually turns to the band and says, we need the press, but we need practice too. Like, let's play a little bit.
Okay.
Sam, do we want to hear their new song here, or do you think we wait for the show for it? I don't want to, be blown away by the new and cutting edge stuff any sooner than you think we should.
No, I think I need a little bit more insight, maybe in this setting. We might not be prepared for what comes next, but it might be a good idea to at least see how it starts or what's going to happen next. I say let them play.
So I think, yeah, as they start to play, and you guys can, like, you won't get wrapped into something too far. You can react at any point while I'm speaking. But as they start jamming, Rose says, "Well, let's play Requiem for him." And so they start playing. It's a beautiful song. It's the same song you heard, and about the same point that the crowd started getting kind of leaning, or kind of rocking in tune and kind of getting mesmerized. You both feel this kind of it's like an emotional control. You just feel like you want to rock with it, and because you're both on guard, and because you both deal with like the spooky shit, you realize like you're under basically like what amounts to a charm spell. Pretty much anything you want to do right now, if you're trying to resist a charm spell, there's a move called Act Under Pressure.
Yeah.
Depending on what else you might want to do, you might have, like, you could maybe do something to protect someone, but a lot of stuff would end up just doing a normal thing. Could be Act Under Pressure. They start playing the song, and you feel this kind of hit you. As it builds up, you feel yourself kind of humming along. And again, stop me if you get to a point.
What's Eric doing as this is all happening? Is he as entranced as the rest of the band, or does he seem to be more active about anything?
Good. So he's equally entranced, and you actually feel this kind of connection to the entire band, to him, to the other players, to Winter/Sam. And I think particularly from Sam's perspective, like, have you ever been part of ritual magic before, Sam, where you were tied to like other casters?
Yeah.
Okay. You get that sense of being tied to them in a way. Through that, like, the focus, the will being poured into this music. The music is kind of compelling everybody who's participating into putting their will, and you get a sense that like the ritual is massive, and it really requires a large group of people pouring their will into it collectively to fully open or fully accomplish like the summoning or whatever it is. In a small setting like this, you think that like it's not going to be enough to complete the summoning ritual, and that kind of would help explain why they've been able to rehearse this song countless times without the demon getting through. But like all the scratching on the house, all the negative energy, as they continue to play it, you start feeling yourselves get kind of angry. The band is not getting angry. The band is just kind of zoned out, but the both of you kind of look to each other, and you have that moment of like whatever small resentments you have from like rooming together on the RV or investigating like different styles. Like what's a thing that comes up in Sam's mind? It's like a petty issue that you normally don't have a real problem with, that like, God damn it, I hate it when Atticus does this. Maybe look at your history that you chose from. That might be a source for it. And where I'm trying to get with this is just like the thing is in your head. I'm trying to find your history. You witnessed selfish use of powers on a mark of Atticus's con. Oh, he witnessed you. He witnessed you getting that guy to burn down his own bar.
Yeah.
Is there anything related to that you'd have any kind of resentment over?
No.
Maybe you suspect. Maybe you suspect like he knows, and like I think you start like, oh, he probably knows that, like he's just out to get, like you start getting these like paranoid feelings that you need to strike him first before, and it's not in accordance with anything that you know, like in the rational part of your mind, you know it's wrong, but in a kind of bestial part, you have this rage being provoked, and we cut to Atticus having the same sort of issues with Sam. She saved you from a succubus. I don't know if that would tie into an anger. I wish you'd gotten your pickle wet. Damn her. Maybe like you start misinterpreting all the different ways that she's like, she thinks she's your protector and that she's better than you. Like
I could have handled it. I had, I was in control all along.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys both have this, and it's this mounting, and you're both at the point where like you're gonna lash out at each other, and you maybe even the audience hears, and Samantha with the sight, you get this whispering, you get the real sense of there's a malevolent presence in the room, kind of held back from entering fully, but whispering in both of your ears, and you can, at the rational part of your mind, you can see this happening, like these couple of bars. This is what incites a riot. The band is kind of ignorant to what they're doing. Eric is intentionally putting this music out there in the world, but he's not even like necessarily aware to any level what's going on. What do you guys do to keep from lashing out at each other?
I'm just gonna probably start taking pictures because I am the photographer.
Okay.
I dropped my beer on the ground.
Let me first have Samantha act under pressure, which is rolling plus cool, which for you is a -1.
Fucking.
Get it. Or punch me in the nose. Awesome.
Holy shit. You rolled a perfect score, and with your -1, it comes down to an 11. Yeah. You rolled 2 6s, and then you got a -1. So you want to act under pressure on a 10+. You do exactly what you set out to do. So you want to start taking pictures. Just show me how, like, Samantha, like, ooh, bury it deep, and just take some pictures. What do you describe that scene to us?
Okay, so probably take like a big swig of my beer just to kind of do something with my hands so that I'm not tacky Atticus. Probably say something like, fuck, my phone, it's about to go dead. Might as well get some pictures done before it dies. And then just start like snapping pictures like crazy.
Nice. And so Atticus gets a little response here too. She kind of does that. She's maybe even trying to pull you out a little bit. You were going to drop your beer, and what were you going to do, Atticus?
I was going to try to drop it to like distract them to stop playing.
Okay.
Just like cause a commotion, basically. Like, oh shit, and have it hit the ground and break.
Come out at me like, that was awesome.
It sounds kind of like you're trying to manipulate the group. You're trying to like give the reason to stop playing.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to create a distraction. Could be
yeah.
act under pressure. Could be manipulate someone.
It's up
could
to you.
even
My roll
be
is much better for manipulate. but,
could be protecting them from the harm of like finishing this thing. Do you wanna like drop the beer like in a way like shorts out an amp or something, or just like we have a mess to clean?
No, yeah, just I figure if I drop it and it breaks on the basement floor, everybody be like kind of broken from the trance, be like, oh shit, and I can play it off like I'm a
Lightweight.
yeah, like I'm clumsy.
Let's have you do a manipulate someone then, since there's that little bit of subterfuge in there as well. So roll plus charm. Nice. So an 11. They kind of snap out of it as you do that. Rose sings for like another bar, and then she kind of stops and shakes. Oh shit! You okay, JC? Devin, do you got rags? And they all kind of come out of it. Eric plays for a few more bars after that, but even he kind of pulls himself out, and you have a chance to clean up the rag. Or Devin comes out and cleans up the beer, and oh shit! Get you another
sorry,
one.
guys.
And he starts
You know
grabbing
what?
another beer from the cooler.
I'll take it, but I'm not going to drink anything. I need to stay sharp.
Okay. Yeah. So you've actually now been part of this ritual. You see how they're pulling the demon through. Best guess from having kind of been in it and with Samantha's background is that they need a big crowd, like a bar full of people to play it successfully. And if they complete the ritual with like a few hundred people participating, that demon might just get its way out.
So, once Eric's out, I'm actually going to approach him and ask him about what it's like working with someone that you've been so close with for a long time, and that there isn't anything going on with their relationship right now. Like, how does he manage to continue just business as business and nothing more?
Nice. And are we look at the moves that you've got? I think telepathy might be in there. And are you trying to manipulate him? Are you trying to investigate a mystery or read a bad situation?
Um,
You might look at the list of
yeah, we
questions
can
and
do
investigate and read.
probably investigate a mystery just to kind of see like I have two questions that I can ask. I have what was it going to do in reference to the music, and then what happened here in reference to the past.
Okay. So yeah, roll plus sharp. And I think you have a +1 ongoing from that previous from outside, right? From your read about situation.
The
So you've now kind of been part of the song, and you have a little bit more insight into it. So, and you get a +1 to that, so you have a 9. Now she's at a point where if she has a 9, if she had a 10, she would get 2 hold instead of just the 1.
Wow.
So if you have any interest in it, Josh, you have that help out. You can see another hunter's roll, and if you can successfully give them a +1, you can shift her from a 9 up to a 10.
How do I do that again?
It would be a roll plus cool. You'd have to describe how you're going to help her if you have an interest in helping her, and then you'd roll plus cool. And it's useful if somebody has a 6 or a 9, particularly, because you'd bump them up to the next level.
Yeah, so I will help her. In the way that I'm gonna, this could really backfire. The way that I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna position myself to start talking to Rose, but I want to
Make him jealous.
No, I want to position my body so that she's not in eyesight anymore. Like it's just him and Sam, and she can kind of talk to him without the distraction of this person that he's
nice.
So messed up over.
Yeah. Roll me plus cool. Let's see how well that does to break his line of sight and get him focused on Sam's questions instead of your Okay, 6. So if we look at the plus cool or the move, oh, it doesn't actually define for a 6-. Let me just look at my options here real quick.
And do I mark XP for that?
Yeah.
Yes, you totally mark XP. Okay, so I'm going to put a pin in that for just a moment, and let's get back to Jessica's questions. Jessica, you have 2 questions to ask on Investigative Mystery. He didn't hurt, Josh's roll didn't hurt you. It just put him in a bad spot while this is all going on.
Okay,
so you asked him, what's it like to write or work with somebody you had a relationship with, and you want to dig at 2 Investigative Mystery questions.
But I could only ask 1, right? Because I rolled a 8.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You have a 9 was your total roll, not a 10. So you can have 1 question.
So the question's going to be what happened here in reference to the relationship.
Okay. So I think you, as you're talking to him, he gives you a little bit of background about how what you gather is they just grew apart over time. As they started getting more popular, I think, as they started getting kind of more opportunities to play with other musicians and things, she realized that she just wanted to meet other people, and he like stayed devoted to her. But I think even more importantly, like as he came up with this song, and like she seemed really enthused by it, and she really like wants the band to use the song for their own, like, you know, for their to launch their careers. You can tell like he's really like starting to realize like this isn't working. She's not, you know, falling back in love with me. Like I'm just getting the superficial. Like he's got this like resentment is getting really twisted around. He's getting more and more angry, and just talking to you, he's really getting like you feel the frustration and the antipathy toward her building, and his eyes kind of flicker over to look at her, and he sees that Atticus has his back to you both, has stepped in front, and his eyes just go narrow. He doesn't like what he sees. So he goes from telling you about how upset he is, or at least, you know, with your telepathy in his mind, like you're picking up the words between what he's saying. He sees Atticus, and I think he steps forward, and he reaches forward to like step and push Atticus out of the way. He's actually going to move into some fisticuffs against Atticus. What does Sam do as he makes that move? And you can look at, you've got to roll like protect someone, or you can kick some ass to just like hit him first, or you could just choose not to do a move and just call out to Atticus to like warn him.
Fight.
And him moving to attack Atticus is the result of Atticus's 6-, right? It's not something you've done.
I'll do protect someone.
How do you move in and try and protect Atticus from this kind of surprise attack at his back?
I'll probably reach out to Eric. Be like, dude, man, like chill, relax. I didn't mean to stir up any feelings about you and Rose. I was just trying to figure out if the song had anything to do with your relationship with her. If maybe it was a tribute to the relationship in the past, or
so he's
maybe
committed
trying to win her back.
He's committed to this anger and hostility, and while you're doing that, you're kind of pulling on his shoulder. You're starting to kind of speak quickly, trying to get his attention, and he's in the middle of throwing a punch, and you've kind of grabbed him. You're talking. Roll plus tough while you're trying to explain this. Depending on the results of the roll, we have some options for what you'll do. So 7. So on protect someone, you protect them okay, but you'll suffer some or all of the harm they were going to get. You don't get to choosing the extras to the 10 plus. And so let me just double check what his harm was. You stepped in and grabbed him and trying to like grab his shoulder and calm down. And he just looks at you. He's pissed off and he throws his elbow right into your jaw. You just see this anger well up his eyes. I think you actually see like in that gray vision right before it hits you, you see his eyes kind of go black, like the demons in Supernatural or something. You see just like black kind of flow over them, and he throws it elbow you, and then there's like a red burst as like the pain floods through your eyes like a red light. You're gonna take 1 harm. Since you don't have any armor on your face, and actually neither of you have armor, this 1 harm comes in and I think it kind of, does it hit you in the cheek or the nose? It gives you a good knock-in. Let me look at my harm moves real quick. I think you actually get knocked on your butt. You take this elbow to the face and you kind of fall back onto your ass. Mark 1 harm on your character sheet. We should see it show up on the little icon, the little figure that show up over the head. The red bar is starting to fill up. For some reason, I'm not seeing it. We'll figure that out later. But yeah, you take the 1 harm and you get knocked in your ass, and you hear it immediately, Atticus. You hear this. I think he snarls something, "Get the fuck off me!" And you hear the loud smack of an elbow on cheek or nose. Devin starts to jump up. Not cool, man. Liam's not even noticing, and Rose is busy talking to you. What does Atticus do?
How close are the 2 of them to me? I know they're behind me, but
he was in range to like reach up and like punch you in the back of the head. So when you turn around, he's like turning back to see you again. He's already ignoring Sam, which might be to his detriment.
I guess let's just do this then. I'm going to turn around and just try to give him a boot to the stomach.
Okay. That sounds like kick some ass.
I hope so.
So when you get into a fight and kick someone, he can fight back, and so it's kick some ass because you might trade harm. You can roll plus tough.
I'm not very good at kicking ass.
But
I'm racking up XP, man.
Indeed, yeah. Marking XP. You reach up to boot him in the stomach, and you're not really necessarily a trained fighter, I don't think. Like you're not necessarily weak, but you're in these close quarters, and you end up just kind of shoving him back instead of doing a real nasty kick. As your jacket opens up, I think you hear Liam say like, "Holy shit, he's got a gun!" And everybody starts freaking out in the room. You just kind of push Eric back, and you see him kind of calm, like clear his eyes a little bit. Whatever rage it was that was over him kind of passes, but like everybody's like freaking out now. You've got a gun. He saw it like when your trench coat opened up a little bit. They're all kind of backing away from you. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Devin, like, whoa, really not cool, man. He stands up and he's like got his hands up. And he's walking toward you, like looks down at Sam, like, you guys got to go. This ain't cool. Mom, call the cops. He's yelling up to the house above.
Yeah, call the cops, guys. Your buddy just assaulted my photographer, and I got a license for this. You gonna call the cops? Let's do it. I'm good for a report. You're going to jail tonight, son. No show, huh? Or you want to talk this over?
Sam, what are you doing on the ground?
I'm gonna reach down to help her up.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get up and be like checking to see if my nose is bleeding.
So that 1 harm that you took isn't going to be too devastating. If you get up to like 4 harm, you're in pretty bad trouble.
Yeah.
But with 1 harm, you just kind of have to shake your head a little bit. A little bit of blood comes out, but you're not continued bleeding.
I'd probably be like, "Damn, Eric, sorry I asked. Apparently, you're still not over it, Rose." Kind of
Oh shit!
call him out on
Are
it.
you trying to manipulate his anger again, or what are you trying to do with that?
Manipulate, like, see how he reacts to it, because I'm calling him out on it. I mean, the whole reason that.
Are you trying to provoke him? Because you also have telepathy. Like, you could say one thing, but like plant something in his mind to get him. If you're trying to provoke a particular reaction, like what are you hoping he does?
Maybe kind of provoking a reaction from both Rose and from Eric. For Rose to finally face the reality that Eric's still like a little puppy dog to her. Still wants something there when she's already decided that there's nothing there anymore. And with Eric, well, I'm still trying to fish what's going on with that song. If it is a tribute to his devotion to her or something like that, just to see what monster it is connected to.
I think that's to manipulate someone, and you're just trying to get him to come clean and for her to see. Like, for him to admit he's doing something jinky with the music and for her to like kind of see it. Mm-hmm. Is that right? So manipulate sounds right. And the reason he would do it is you're just like you've stoked his ego, or you've provoked it, like you're pushing his buttons. Is there anything telepathic that you're doing with it, or is it just what you said out in the room? Like, are you doing anything separately inside of his mind or inside of Rose's mind, or is it just kind of what's open in the conversation?
Probably just trying to read his mind.
Okay.
Like,
go ahead and give me
to
a try.
See if.
So she's right on the threshold. Like, you see him say that, and they're considering what you've said, Atticus, about like calling the cops. They don't want to lose the gig. They're on like, oh shit, just kick him out and quiet it down. But then she goes and she's trying to stir some shit up, and like you see Rose, Eric get kind of dark faced. The other two like just don't quite know what to do, but they don't dig the scene. Do you want to try and help out and like rescue things, turn that 6 into a 7?
Yeah.
Or do you want to?
I'll go ahead and try.
How would you go about doing that? How would you go about kind of being cool?
Being cool. I'm gonna try and do it with my mouth, like I always do, and just say, "I know that's why we've been friends so long." I'm gonna, as I'm saying this, I'm kind of looking over Sam, making sure she's okay, and kind of collecting myself as well, and saying, look, guys, this is the shit that breaks bands up. Get it out in the open.
Nice. Roll plus school. Try and help out. And if you're successful, it'll turn. And Jessica, roll a mark an XP for that 6. Oh wait, don't do it yet, because if he helps, yeah, he's helping. He's rolling an 8. So you're turning into a 7, so you don't get the XP for that one. But you do get a 7/9. You expose yourself to trouble or danger, Josh. But Sam, they'll only do it, but they'll do it, but only if you do something for them right now to show that you mean it. If you've asked too much, they'll tell you what, if anything, it would take you to do it. You want him to come clean. What do you prioritize? Do you want him to admit that there's something fucked up with the music, or do you want her to see that he's got this unrequited love?
I want him to admit that there's something fucked up with the music.
Okay. And what is it that you can do to kind of push him over the edge. Only if you do something for them right now to show that you mean it. If you've asked too much, they'll tell you what. I think you know that he needs. If you can get him, like you need to let him know, and maybe you can figure out some good wording to him. You've kind of given him a hope, like this is my chance to make that pledge of my undying love for her. Like I did this all for you monologue that the bad guy often will give. So you need to make him think like it'll work. Like she's right on the verge of finally appreciating him. It's not necessarily. I mean, it's not that that's the case. You just need to kind of convince him, and you get that insight. So like, what do you say to him to like get him to come clean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in that song. It's a whirlwind of emotions. It couldn't possibly be just a song without
Nice.
something more to it. I mean, there's a connection there. There's chemistry between the two of you. There's a history, and as a publisher of or as what we're trying to do with this tribute is to kind of figure out what story is there, what more is there to it. It's a great song. It's one of the newer songs that you guys have released recently, and it's a lot different from your original music. So we kind of want to see what the history is behind that. Is it something more than just what experience did you go through that gave you that idea?
Yeah, I think he kind of breaks down a little bit. Gets a little bit weepy. Hasn't had that much to drink. Maybe Devin's crying along sympathetically because he's kind of drunk. But he's red-eyed, and he starts talking about, I wrote that song for her. I think he starts going on to like, I was searching for anything to keep us together. He goes into this really kind of dark emotional spot. Starts talking about how he found the music. They promised that she'd see the truth, see how he really feels about her. Starts kind of referencing they. The whole band kind of looks at him like, you told us you wrote that song, man. But he's like giving in that he did find the song. He's kind of guided to it by some anonymous they that I don't think we'll get to tonight. It's 10:53. You guys want to span this and actually confront the monster next week?
Sure.
If we can find a way to do that.
Whenever you guys.
But I think we're at a good point to call it with just kind of his breaking down, and the band kind of coming to realize like, wow, there's some shit going on here, and like, it's not just people picking fights at our show. Like this whole fight breaking out in Devin's basement was not right. And I'll think a little bit about how to spin it from there. Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap the session here. Kind of the scene in the basement. Would you want to pick up next week here in the basement again, or like? Well, yeah, let's make that decision next week because you might want them to hold the show, or you might not want them to. Let's look at the Hunter reference sheet, page 2, real quick, and look at end of session. And at the end of the session, we ask a couple of questions, or four questions total. And if we answer yes to 1 or 2 of them, we'll get 1 XP that you mark. And if you answer yes to 3 or 4, you get 2. Did we conclude the current mystery?
No.
Did we save someone from certain death or worse?
I don't think so.
Not yet. Did we learn something new and important about the world? And so we can answer these pretty vaguely. The idea is to try and find reasons to give you XP on all these. So I would say, for instance, that this group is kind of unwittingly using this spell, this magic. There's somebody out there that pointed the band, or Eric specifically, at the spell. We've learned as players that like ritual magic can be conducted in this way. So maybe it's not necessarily the characters learn something, although they may have. As players, we've learned. So I think we have enough to answer yes to that one.
Okay.
Do we learn something new and important about one of the hunters?
I don't know. I don't think anything beyond just fleshing them out a little bit with the first session of gameplay. But
yeah, I think as we kind of see you in some ethical dilemmas and see how you kind of react to stress in different ways. I think maybe seeing Samantha like throw herself bodily in to protect Atticus, seeing Atticus's response, there might be some stuff there, but we'll flesh this out more. But I think we at least have a yes to the third question.
okay.
So if you agree with that, everybody mark 1 XP. Both of you mark the same number for this one.
Cool.
And then how many XP are each of you at?
I'm at 4.
4. And Jessica, did you have any missed rolls? You did at the very beginning, at least.
Yeah, I'm at 2. Okay. With this one.
I'm better at failing.
I'm just kind of going through the log real quick to see if there are any other missed rolls that we have. And I think, yeah, you had that 6 that turned into a 7, so that one didn't count. So you're at 2 and 4. So we don't have any leveling up to do just yet, but next session we should at least get Atticus and maybe Samantha up there. I'm kind of intrigued to see where we are, where we're ending up this session compared to the prep. I've got prep that kind of lays out a little bit of the story. Very open-ended, and then kind of what would happen if the group did not interfere. And we ended up before my first bullet point. Like we didn't get even that far. So you guys have kind of sidetracked the plan of the demon spell, all that shit. Kind of interrupted it at its tracks, which is pretty cool. I'd say we meet back up next week. We'll see. We should be able to get through this pretty easily, depending on what you all want to do. And then I can, maybe after that, we'll discuss pacing, whether we want to spend less time in scenes. We spent kind of the last hour in just the basement. Think about if we want to be kind of moving from scene to scene more often, or if we want to kind of fully develop and flesh out those scenes, if we think we can have a good experience doing that.
Sure.
You guys have any questions? Oh, and when we're done with this adventure hook, I'll share the prep document that I've got.
Okay.
I'm not going to make any changes to it between now and next week, and that'll kind of show what I had in mind before we went into it, and then you'll be able to kind of see like parts of where we went a little bit differently. Which is going to be pretty cool. I'm going to stop the broadcast.